In March of 2020, the numismatic community was getting ready for the Spring Whitman Expo in Baltimore until the country shut down due to COVID-19, almost overnight. The Whitman show was canceled, and there wasn't another national coin show for over a year. The 2021 World's Fair of Money was the big return of the coin show. We've come back in a smaller exhibit hall with wider aisles and face masks recommended, or occasionally required, at specific booths. International dealers were missing due to travel restrictions, and most people were unsure until a couple weeks before the show that it would really be happening. But we're here.
This is my first major coin show since COVID began. I was supposed to go to Summer Fun, but a hurricane canceled our flight, and so we didn't make it out and didn't decide to reschedule. I've done a couple of the smaller PCGS invitational shows and a smaller NGC show, but this is the first real event. And it was weird coming in and setting up our table. It's the first time we set up a table in 2 years. We're looking at how do we do this? I mean, this used to be old hat for us, and now it's like, okay, how do we do this, this, and this? I mean, it was quite a change. And it's also a challenge. There's lots of challenges in the mask situation, wearing masks, and trying to be responsible to everyone else. It's a big change. You've got a lot going on, but again, it's just nice to be back for now. We're just excited. The entire coin market since the pandemic began has really kind of gone crazy. It's on steroids from where it was before the pandemic, and the market has just shot up. It's skyrocketed in the last 2 years. So we're seeing prices from other dealers that are much higher. We're seeing collections now that are coming out that were not available before. It's been really interesting to watch. I mean, buying has been different. I mean, there have been some groups that you can buy. There's some coins that are just priced higher. But the main part, it's been really interesting just to see people that you haven't seen in 2 years. I mean, there are people that have had kids that have grown up since then, and we're looking at them like, what's going on? And, just being able to see people that, everything has changed. Our lives have changed during this. But this is kind of a normalcy for the coin family to be able to see each other again, and that's. But that combined with the coin market and the changes in how auctions are going, they're doing them at home instead of live events here. So it's quite a bit different now. But we've had to be flexible, and we've just kind of taken it step by step. We actually partnered with Litter Coin this time and decided to do. When we picked out our table locations, it was a very last minute thing this year. It was done in June, so you had no idea what our locations would be. And when they put out the map, they said that the Tyrant Collection was going to be back here in the back corner. This thing is amazing. The quality, there's just such a wide variety of things in that set. So Seth from Litter Coin and I, we participated in this program called Litter Coin University, where we had a bunch of kids come and we taught a grading class with 5 other instructors from Heritage and Devon Hip and people from PCGS. And we had fun with that. And Seth and I were sitting there talking let's do a fun exhibit. Let's do something that's not being done in the coin show on the boards floor. Because our vision for the A&A shows in the future is to make something more of an experience and more of an event and something different. So we found our tables were right next to each other. We said, let's do something just a little bit different and see what it works out like. So we've set up 2 exhibit cases here with from the coins from the DL Hansen collection. We have the #1 rated Mint State Improved Barber half set, and also the #1 rated Mint State Improved Trade Dollar set. Now, those are words. And then we realized when I put these coins out in this set, how many coins are in a Barber half set? I mean, I knew that, but when you put them out, you realize how much work would you have to put together to put this entire set together. It blows my mind. So this was kind of fun. This is kind of we want people to come by and see something interesting. And Seth put up some really interesting coins, like a 27D Saint and 66 Plus. These kind of coins are what we enjoy looking at, and it's kind of playing on the playground of numismatics when you get to see such interesting coins.
Hi, I'm John Dan Ruther. I am the consultant for the United States section for the collector that's known as the Tyrant Collector. And we've been assembling this typeset for about 15 years. We bought coins and upgraded coins and added to the collection, and it's virtually complete. There are still a few little items that we would like to buy, but It's virtually complete. You know, it's one of the most frequently asked questions is, what is your favorite coin? And that's an impossible question. The highlight, of course, is the King of Siam proof set. That contains an 1804 dollar. He actually bought the set because he wanted the 1804 $10 gold piece or eagle, because he's the first person to complete all 33 varieties of eagles from 1795 to 1804. The King of Siam set, of course, contains those two coins, plus it contains a half cent, a large cent, a half dime, a dime, a quarter, so and a 2.5 and a $5 gold piece. So all of those are part of his type set also, and those are certainly highlights. Some of the other highlights are the 1795 small eagle dollar that was in the Garrett collection, that's in a specimen 66 holder. He has a chain cent in specimen 65, which is a Sheldon 1, which is what we believe was the first United States cent struck with the Amarai variety. 1796 dime is in specimen 67. Could possibly be the first coin struck, we don't know. And he also has a 1797 half in Mint State 66. So he's got a specimen and a high-grade Mint State coin. And then the gold coins are really his specialty, although he loves silver and the other type coins. He collects, eagles are his main coin collection for denomination. So in that we have the 1808 quarter eagle that was once owned by Jimmy Hayes, and the Pogues, that's Mint State 65. 1796 No Stars quarter eagle, also in Mint State 65. One of the highlights a lot of people don't realize is there's an 1825 quarter eagle in Mint State 67. So the quality is just superb all the way through this collection, and we've concentrated on eye appeal to get coins that were not only technically nice, but were visually very attractive. This sort of came up quickly because we didn't know whether there was going to be an ANA show. Even up till a couple of weeks ago, there was doubt in a lot of people's minds that this would happen. So we contacted the ANA, and they said, yes, we'd love to have this display. This would be great. And they worked it out, did all the logistics. We had to ship the cases from California because that's where they're stored. This is a custom-built display. He had it built especially for his coins, and so you could see both sides of them. The displays are set up where you can see the fronts and the backs. Now, unfortunately, because there's so many coins, you can't do that here because we had to go all the way around on the outside to put all the coins. But the lighting is superb. Museums should look at what he's done and for coins exhibits, because this is how they should be exhibited. You have the coin and then a little card that explains it, what the coin is, and sometimes they list the pedigree of where the coin was bought or the collectors that used to own it. So it's a fabulous display. I've never had so many people come up to me and say, I came to the ANA this year to see this. It speaks for itself. I mean, when you realize that all the coins here have been in all the major collections, Pittman, Alasberg, Pogue, Garrett, all of these coins were once owned by some of the most famous numismatists of all time. And we bought them one at a time. So as we were assembling the collection, as he assembled it, it did not seem, it's hard to describe the fact that when you see something all at once, it's almost overwhelming.
The Tyrant Collection was undoubtedly the most talked about display of the show, but the floor was filled with other exhibits worth taking a look at.
Well, the SS Central America, which is also known as the Ship of Gold, and for good reason, since it brought over 11,000 pieces of gold into the numismatic market. It was carrying gold from the California Gold Rush period. In 1857, on September 12th, it sank about 150 miles off of the Carolina coast in a hurricane in September, sort of like when hurricanes happen. But I'm very pleased this week to be able to bring the bell of the SS Central America to the American Numismatic Association's World's Fair of Money here in Rosemont. This bell, I like to think of it as the voice of the ship, because it was a communication device that was used to signal different things. Whether it was time to get on the ship because we're about to leave, whether it was a certain hour o'clock when there was a shift change among the crew. It could have been used for a number of different reasons, whatever their whims were at the time. I'm certain at some point when every able-bodied man was called to attention, basically, and asked to help bail the ship, we were probably hearing this bell at that time, because it was to let everyone know, hey, there's something going on. Let's find out what it is. Captain Herndon, who is also I deal with in this exhibit, had ordered that the women and children be brought and loaded into the lifeboats when the engines had stopped and they had bailed overnight and they were failing to gain on the water, and this hurricane was beating them up. But in the open ocean, in open boats, the women and children from the SS Central America were ordered evacuated and they were saved. I mean, it is a remarkable story. But the bell is here. The bell was one of the first important artifacts we recovered from the shipwreck. In 1988, we found that it said Morgan Iron Works, New York, 1853. Doesn't have the name of the ship on it, but it has the name of the foundry, which is the very same foundry that made the engines and boilers for the SS Central America. So it clinched the identification of the shipwreck we were working on when we recovered the bell. I have a magnificent model that was made in 1991, commissioned by a couple of the investors, and it's a great 1/64th accurate model of the SS Central America. People have actually been spending a lot of time with it this morning. My grandson was fascinated. Now, of course, around the Bourse floor here at the World's Fair of Money, there's lots of SS Central America treasure, including one bar that's over 750 ounces. So it's a great big chunk of gold. Here in a little while, I will be ringing this bell. I've been ringing it at 10:30 and 3 o'clock on every day. And it's great to hear its sound again, because it's something that really ties us across the years and the decades and the century and a half and such. To actually hear something that they heard gives you a historical connection in a very different sort of way.
So I brought these plastic slides. They were made in 1947 by an A&S member named William Guild, who devised a way to take a warm piece of lucite and a genuine coin and stick them in a vise together and sandwich them together. And these were meant to replace glass slides that were popular at the time. So if you feel them, you can actually feel the actual impression of the coin in there. And then you can put them into a projector and present with them. And that was the main point of them. And he would rent them out to various coin clubs and stuff like that. Guild himself was a collector of pattern coins, so really high-end stuff. And we have about 2,800 slides that he made. The plan for the slides going forward is to bring them to coin shows as a way to attract people. For years, we didn't have something that was so, eye-catching per se. So it's been great. This is our second show that we brought them to, and people just love them. We've been told that they're the most interesting things that people have seen at the show and stuff like that. So we've been getting great reception from them. It's been really good, really good. I've written a blog post about them as well, and then in our upcoming issue of the A&S magazine, I have a full-length feature article about William Guild and the slides and everything like that. So one of my favorites is the 1913 V-nickel, which is the McDermott specimen, which then went to BB, which is now owned by the A&A. So it's actually the A&A specimen, which is intriguing. I heard that they bring it to conventions occasionally, and I want to kind of meet them, have them meet again. So this is one of my favorites, and it also kind of drives home the point. One of my most asked questions when I present these is, did this process injure the coin, right? And this one shows that it didn't. We know this coin, it still exists in that condition, and it didn't injure it. He made at least 5 slides of this coin. So 5 times in a row it was put into a press and it didn't get injured.
So my name is Ian Russell. I'm with Great Collections Coin Auctions. At the A&A here, we're displaying the unique 1933 $20 gold piece. It recently sold in an auction in New York for almost $19 million. It set the all-time world record for a rare coin anywhere in the world, and yeah, we have the pleasure of displaying it here at the show. In 1933, they actually minted over 400,000 of this coin, but they were all ordered to be destroyed. And this is the only one legal to own that's been monetized by the government. We actually have a copy of the certificate to monetize the coin. And it's the only one available to collectors, and yeah. And so in the late 1990s, this coin surfaced in Europe, and it was being sold to, I believe, a U.S. coin dealer, and there was a dispute over the ownership of the coin. The government got involved. The government actually authorized this coin to leave the United States in the late 1940s. And because this is the short story, because they signed off on it in the late 1940s, they couldn't really say it wasn't allowed to be owned today. We received the coin from Sotheby's in the original Capital Plastics holder, and we're located a couple of miles from PCGS, so it was very easy for us to arrange the security, of course, and arrange for it to be graded. PCGS were very accommodating considering the value of the coin. They offered extra security, and it actually didn't leave our site through the whole process, which we were very happy about. The graders were very happy at PCGS to see the coin. It's probably the only coin that some of the most senior graders at the grading services had never seen, because they've almost seen it all, right, if you consider what's out there and what's being graded. But a couple of the senior graders thought this was the only coin they hadn't seen, so they were very happy that day. I don't believe it's going to be on the market anytime soon. Obviously, we know the buyer who's choosing to remain confidential at this point, and anything could happen. Obviously, it's very difficult to predict the future, but I do not believe it's going to be sold in the near future.
This year's A&A auctions at Heritage and Stack's Bowers were held online instead of in person at the show. And while none of them broke the 1933 St. Gaudens $18.9 million record, they did bring strong results. Headlining the lots from Heritage were an 1861 Paquet Double Eagle in PCGS MS67 that brought $7.2 million, followed by the Pogue 1794 Silver Dollar in PCGS MS66 Plus, which brought $6.6 million. The highest sale at Stack's Bowers was the Pogue 1804 Dollar in PCGS Proof 68, bringing almost $7.7 million, followed by a $1794 in NGC AU55. This was the first auction appearance of this example, and it brought $840,000. Auction results overall remained quite strong, as they have been in recent months. According to many dealers, the show reflected this roaring market.
This show has been really, really good. I was hoping that people would be in a good mood when they got here, wanting to do business, and my expectations were exceeded. Retail traffic for me has been about, not much difference, because I try to pride myself in having some, nice coins in inventory that collectors would like, and we've been, we have a collector here right now, so we've been selling coins nonstop since, I've been here since Sunday. The day's Friday, and it's been, it hasn't really let up at all. So my biggest worry really right now is we're running out of coins. Happily, there were some young kids here, so as I thought maybe they might get as many, but I think the demographics. I did go to a couple. One of the good things about the A&A is you get to network with people that you don't see very often. I had dinner one night with one of the guys that ran two of the guys that ran major auction houses, Heritage and Stack's Bowers, and they relayed important information to me about how they've got 35% more new buyers that never collected before and never bought before, and they're being successful, and they're a younger crowd. So some of the big companies, it's good to, my business is mostly wholesale, so I don't always see what's going on with the retail landscape, and it's good to hear information like that. But I do think there's younger people. I think that the coin business is really benefiting from COVID, from the fact that so many people stayed home and kind of discovered hobbies on the internet. And I think that what's interesting is that 2 or 3 years ago, I had people just lamenting the fact that younger people, and maybe even some younger baby boomers didn't want things anymore, and we're going to get away from that. They all want experiences. But I think that we're seeing now people actually do want to have things, and they want to buy tangibles. And I think that whole myth that people were getting away from wanting things is really was not turned out to be the case. So I'm happy that the fact that the hobby I love and the things that I love, people are still seem to be attracted to that, and I hope that'll go forward.
Other dealers I talked to seemed to feel that retail attendance was much lower than normal, and that the highlight of the show was wholesale trading between dealers. However, almost everyone seemed to agree that the first truly national show back was a success. Only time will tell what the next year has in store for us, but the market is strong. COVID-19 has not killed the coin show.